Hello and welcome to your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 9th of May. You can watch these in relation to your ascendant or your sun. The choice is yours. I'm going to give you a broad overview of the exciting potential this week gives us all, and then please stay with me. I will dive deep to give you in forensic detail each of the 12 zodiac sign forecasts. Now, of course, as this week begins, we're still essentially in Taurus season, with the sun in that sign. But Mercury, the planet of communication, recently moved into the sign of Gemini, one of two that it governs. And of course, Tuesday of this week, Mercury does go into a retrograde. Now, we all know that Mercury retrograde can be a time when some of the things that we rely upon around technology or communications can sometimes be a little bit unreliable. But Mercury retrograde is also an opportunity to try to resolve any strand in our situation that needs a little bit more attention to detail. So we mustn't see it as just a negative thing. It does bring opportunities too. But if you have been finding that communications generally or nervous energy have felt lower since the 26th of April, it may be because that was when the pre-retrograde shadow period began. Now, of course, this retrograde begins in Gemini, but on the 23rd of May, Mercury retreats back into the sign of Taurus. So I think we're all thinking a lot at the moment about costs, and particularly the solar eclipse, which occurred on the 30th of April for most major centres of the world, did combine very closely with Uranus, and of course was linking in a positive way with Mars. But we're in a period where it seems a big reset is coming, and I think we're going to see even more signs of that on the 16th of this month, when we have the total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Now, if you want to watch the in-depth video on that I've recorded, please see the link beneath this video, because I think it's going to be one of the most important events that we've had for many a moon, literally. But back to that Mercury retrograde. So it is going to be retreating in its retrograde through to the 3rd of June. 2 signs it goes through in that time. By the 4th of June, it will come out of shadow. So I think when it comes to those resources, we need to be particularly conscious of where we're spending our money, but we also need to perhaps track our transactions in a very precise way. Now, of course, Jupiter also moves sign on Tuesday of this week, transversing into the sign of Aries. Aries is the sign of opportunity. It's the first zodiac sign, and of course it's fiery. Jupiter has been making its way through the sign of Pisces, and last year it travelled through Aquarius as well. This year we've got a repeat of that. It's a bit unusual, you know, because Jupiter usually pretty well takes 12 years to go through its cycle, 1 year per zodiac sign. So we've had 2 consecutive years where we have 2 zodiac signs that Jupiter is impacting upon. Now, Jupiter is about that sense of optimism and self-belief, and it can be the planet of fortune if we work well with it. And it is going to be in the sign of Aries through to the 27th of October. And the reason it then goes back into the sign of Pisces is because on the 28th of July, it goes into retrograde. Now that's going to end on the 23rd of November, and then on the 21st of December, Jupiter will come back into Aries. So again, we've got this sense of the emotional and spiritual dimension, which was really boosted by Jupiter combining with Neptune on the 12th of April. And some astrologers saw this as being a very significant event. And certainly for those people that are wanting to move above just living in the more material plane, I think it did give us great opportunities. But we've also seen that just because that spiritual conjunction was occurring, it didn't mean to say that all the things in the world were turning out exactly in a spiritual way. So Jupiter moving into Aries provides much more thrust. And if there is something that we need to develop a new energy around, then this is going to be a very significant change. But the middle of this week is also terrifically significant because by next Monday, the 16th of May, we're going to have that total lunar eclipse in the sign of Scorpio, and it is going to be squaring up Saturn, and the square between the Sun and Saturn begins in the middle of this week. It's much closer by next Monday, and that's going to be a key event. And if you want to check out the lunar eclipse video that I've recorded, please see the link beneath this video, because I think this is going to be a big reset around resources and how we consume things. And I did predict this last autumn, and this is going to be a major event, but it begins to show its impact in the middle of this week. And the Sun also forges a rather enchanting link with Neptune, so we have two counter influences. How we're all connected, Saturn in Aquarius, especially around our values or money, becomes an issue in the middle of the week with the Sun square to Saturn, which can be very restraining and lowering of physical vitality. But the Sun's link to Neptune suggests there's another way. You know, if we can move beyond just thinking about what we earn, status, the size of our car, all this kind of stuff, then there's a lot to be gained. Now also, on Friday through till the end of the week, Mars does combine with Neptune too. This is a trickier combination, to be honest, because when Mars and Neptune are together in a more challenging 8th harmonic aspect, square, conjunction or opposition, there is the potential for distortion in a more nefarious way. So we mustn't kid ourselves about anything. Self-illusion could be one of the outcomes of this particular influence, or we could encounter someone who's not very honest, yet there may be something about them that we find very attractive, even in a sexual context. And yet, despite the retrograde to Mercury, it does meet up in a gorgeous link with Jupiter towards the end of this week. And also Venus is in a semi-sextile to Uranus towards the end of this week. And ironically, Saturn is in a semi-sextile with Neptune later this week as well. So there are opportunities this week, especially Jupiter moving into Aries. If we can invest our energy into an arena or a strand which inspires us, Jupiter can egg us on. But with Mercury retrograde, we need to be aware of the details, but we also must see the opportunities to revisit, recalibrate, repair, renew that the retrograde does provide us with. Now, if you'd like to ascend above this Zodiac broadcast and understand more serious astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of your personal information, I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life, plus a more specific forecast for the next 12 months, and give you 30% off with my special offer. Please see the link beneath this video. But if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. But please stay with me now for your in-depth forecast. Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 9th of May. This week sees Jupiter, your glorious ruler, move into the fire sign of Aries, sharing your triplicity, and that gives you a glorious opportunity from now through to the 28th of July and even beyond to showcase your talents, to really believe in yourself when it comes to your flair and artistry, but also this can really bring an extra dazzle to your social and romantic situation. With Venus in this area too, then that really gives you a supreme opportunity. Now, of course, Mercury, the planet of communication, goes into retrograde in your opposite sign. So just when there's the chance to mix and mingle with great aplomb, you just need to be conscious that other people understand any arrangements as you mean them if you're sharing information, and to work just that little bit more consciously around relating, because obviously things can go a little awry with Mercury retrograde. But I think the combination of these two influences gives you a platform to really make progress. It's just Mercury retrograde is saying dig deep, to reach out to others and showcase what makes you very special, because you're going to be giving out an extra special radiance. Now, of course, the Sun does continue in a very pragmatic part of your scope, which is asking to get fitter, more organised, slicker in your routines, more conscious of what you eat and drink, and that does square with the Sun later this week. That could bring your energy down a little bit, and also Mars is combining with Neptune in a very sensitive emotional zone later in the week, which could make you very much more aware of your immediate environment. But you know, Mars and Neptune actually forge a very constructive link to the Sun, so good news could come about around a home or family or emotional issue. I just feel that there's only a certain amount of energy that we all have, and you can't spread yourself too thinly. So if you are going out and being getting into a bit more of an interactive and glamorous lifestyle, you still need to make sure that the practical side of your existence can work too. So that means not burning the candle at both ends. But later this week, there's terrific links between Venus and Uranus, and also Mercury and Jupiter, which really can bring blessings to your sign in particular. So on the whole, this is a very upbeat week for you, Sagittarius.